All right, are you ready to dive in?
Always.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling fashion and finance.
Ooh.
We've got a really cool mix of sources,
Okay.
but they're all centered around this one book, The Smart Cookie's Guide to Making More Dough.
Interesting.
It seems like you're really looking for some actionable advice
Mm-hmm.
on managing both your money and your wardrobe.
I like that.
So let's see if we can unearth some real gems here.
Yeah, what I find really interesting is this idea that financial well-being and personal style are actually intertwined.
Oh, I
It's
get.
not just about like crunching numbers or, chasing trends.
Yeah.
It's about making conscious choices that reflect your values in both areas.
So it's kind of like a holistic approach
Exactly.
to being smart with your resources.
Totally.
I like that.
Yeah.
The audiobook starts off with fashion,
Okay.
specifically with this concept of doing like a quarterly closet inventory.
Interesting.
They say it's a chance to declutter, reassess your style, and plan future purchases more strategically.
Makes sense.
What are your thoughts on that?
It reminds me of that advice you always hear about, like reviewing your bank statements.
Yeah.
It's taking stock of what you have before you go making any new decisions. And understanding your wardrobe's current state, I think,
Yeah.
is so crucial for making informed purchases and avoiding those impulse buys that can really clutter up your closet
Yeah.
and drain your bank account.
So it's like taking inventory of your assets, but your assets are
Exactly.
those fabulous shoes
That's
and
it.
that vintage dress that you
That's-
just can't part with.
I love that.
The audiobook talks about this 5 piles method
Oh, yeah?
for sorting through your clothes: save, sell, donate, dump, needs work.
Love it.
Have you ever tried something like that?
I think it's brilliant because it forces you to like evaluate each item.
Yeah.
Is it still relevant?
Right.
Is it in good condition?
Yeah.
Could you maybe sell it or give it a new life with some alterations?
Yeah.
It even encourages you to think about the environmental
Oh,
impact
that's a good point.
of your fashion choices.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's very eco-conscious.
It is.
It also makes you realize that hidden treasure might be lurking in your closet,
For sure.
waiting to be rediscovered or even turned into some cash.
Love a good closet sale.
Right. So the source also talks about building a stylish wardrobe on a budget.
Yes.
And they give these 10 commandments to help you save money without sacrificing style.
Yes. They start with taking inventory, clearing clutter,
Mm-hmm.
which goes back to that whole closet strategy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Then it moves into like the smart shopping, investing in essentials, building around basics,
Right.
mixing and matching, understanding the difference between trends and timeless pieces.
So it's not about having like a million pieces.
Right.
It's about having the right pieces.
The right piece.
Pieces that you love that fit well and that can be styled in multiple ways.
Yes.
It sounds like they're really encouraging people to be more intentional
Absolutely.
with their purchases.
Be intentional.
And the book even suggests shopping at discount retailers,
Yeah.
finding designer deals, and this is one of my favorites, swapping outfits with friends for special occasions.
Oh, I love that.
Remember that anecdote about the group of friends who saved $5,000
Yes.
by doing clothing swaps?
love that.
Oh, yes. It's
Mm.
like having a style potluck.
It is. It's so fun.
Everyone gets to be the best dressed guest.
Exactly.
I love that idea.
It really challenges the idea that you need a brand new outfit for every single event.
Yeah,
And it's much more sustainable.
it is.
Yeah.
Now, the source also talks about buying generic brands,
Okay.
particularly for groceries.
Oh,
They point out that the quality can often be comparable
it
to
is.
name brands, and you can save a significant amount of money.
You can.
I used to be skeptical about generic brands,
Yeah.
but I tried a generic laundry detergent,
Okay.
and I was shocked.
Really?
It worked just as well as
Hmm.
the name brand, and I saved a ton of money.
That's awesome.
It really is.
Yeah.
It-
It's a classic example of how we pay a premium for the branding
Mm-hmm.
and the marketing, not necessarily for the quality.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears from fabulous fashion
Okay.
to savvy finances.
I'm ready.
Okay. The Smart Cookies Guide spends a lot of time breaking down this whole concept of debt.
Yes.
Good debt, bad debt,
Mm.
and how to avoid getting caught in that debt spiral.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key takeaways here for our listener?
Well, I think they do a great job of explaining that good debt is an investment
Okay.
that has the potential to increase your earning power
Yeah.
or your net worth in the long run.
Got it.
Things like a mortgage, student loans for a degree that will lead to a higher income, or even business loans.
So it's not just about like avoiding debt altogether. It's about understanding how certain types of debt can actually help you build wealth or advance your career.
Exactly.
That's a really good distinction.
Yeah.
Take your friend who took on a student loan to get their master's degree.
Mm.
That seemed really scary at first,
Yeah.
but now they're earning double what they used to.
Wow.
So it shows that sometimes taking a calculated risk and investing in yourself can pay off big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a great illustration of how good debt can work in your favor.
Right.
But on the flip side, there's bad debt.
Yes.
And this is the kind of debt that often leads to financial stress
Yeah,
and keeps you from achieving your financial goals.
for sure.
So what falls into that category?
I would say think of credit cards and car loans.
Okay.
These are often associated with immediate gratification
Yeah.
and can lead to that cycle of overspending and high interest payments.
Right.
The book really dives into like the mechanics of credit card interest,
Mm-hmm.
showing how compounding can work against you
Yeah.
and keep you trapped in this cycle of debt
Oh, wow.
for years.
That's scary.
It is.
They use a pretty sobering example in the book,
Huh.
charging $2,500 on a credit card
Oh,
with
wow.
a 12% APR
Yeah.
and only making the minimum payments.
Oh, no.
Do you remember how long it took to pay that off?
I think it was something crazy, like over 19 years.
It was
Yeah.
over 19 years. And get this, you end up paying over $2,200
Oh, my God.
in interest alone,
Oof.
which is almost as much as the original debt.
It's insane.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary reminder of the hidden cost of credit card debt and how quickly it can snowball out of control.
For sure.
So how do we slay this debt monster? The audiobook lays out 6 steps to get back in the black.
Yeah.
Walk us through those steps.
They start by emphasizing the importance of facing your debt head on.
Okay.
Like tally up everything you owe.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a clear picture of where you're starting.
It's like taking inventory of your debt.
Exactly.
Similar to how we talked about taking inventory of your wardrobe.
Yes.
You need to know what you're working with
You do.
before you can make a plan.
Exactly.
I like that. That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So once you have that clear picture,
Yes.
it's about prioritizing payments,
Mhm.
focusing on those high-interest debts first.
Absolutely.
They even encourage negotiating lower interest rates with creditors,
Yes.
which can save you a significant amount of money in the long run.
For sure.
That reminds me of the time I called my credit card company,
Oh, yeah.
and I actually negotiated a lower interest rate.
You did.
I did.
Wow.
It wasn't easy, but it worked.
That's amazing.
It felt so empowering
Yeah.
to take control of my debt and advocate for myself.
I bet. Good for you.
So the remaining steps focus on using your financial tools wisely,
Yes.
like considering debt consolidation,
Mm-hmm.
understanding your FICO score,
Yeah.
and finding that balance between paying off debt and making smart investments. Okay, so it's all about knowledge, taking action,
Yeah.
and making informed choices that move you closer to financial freedom.
For sure.
But what about increasing your income?
Right.
The audiobook seems to be a big advocate for finding ways to earn extra money.
Absolutely.
So what are their suggestions?
They highlight the importance of turning your hobbies and passions into money-making opportunities.
Okay.
It's all about identifying your skills
Yeah.
and finding creative ways to kind of leverage them in the marketplace.
So what are you good at?
Yeah.
What do you enjoy doing?
Exactly.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They give this example
Uh,
of helping out at a wine shop in exchange for free wine or cash.
oh, wow.
It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I can actually get paid to do that.
Right. I know.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So from side hustles to stocks and bonds,
We're getting there.
this deep dive is already making me rethink my entire approach to finances and fashion.
I love it.
So what's next on the agenda?
Let's find out.
Where do we go from here?
Well, from generating that extra income, we're moving into making your money work for you.
Okay.
The audiobook lays out this framework for understanding investment options,
Mm-hmm.
from short-term to long-term strategies.
Oh, cool.
They even use a wardrobe analogy.
Ooh, I love a good analogy.
I know.
Especially when it comes to finances.
Me too.
So I can't wait to unpack this.
Let's do it.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive.
I'm excited. Ready to explore the world of investing.
I think so. I'm a little nervous, but
Let's do it.
let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
The source material kicks things off by talking about the power of compounding,
Okay.
which they describe as this like financial snowball effect.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Break down this snowball effect for me. How does
All
it
right.
actually work?
So imagine this. You invest a small amount regularly,
Okay.
like let's say monthly.
Mm.
Over time, not only does your initial investment grow, but the gains on that investment start generating their own returns.
Oh, okay.
So it's like growth on top of growth,
Wow.
creating this like amazing exponential effect.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. That's the magic of compounding.
So you're saying that even if I don't have like a huge chunk of money to start with,
Right.
consistent small investments can really add up over time.
Exactly.
That's encouraging.
It is. And the source gives this really compelling example.
Okay.
If you invest just $100 a month with an 8% return,
Mm-hmm.
you could end up with almost $35,000 in 15 years.
Wow.
It makes investing feel much more attainable,
It does.
even if you're starting small.
Wow, $35,000 from just $100 a month.
I know.
That definitely makes the point.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out where to put those $100?
Well,
The audiobook mentions using this wardrobe analogy
yes.
to help us understand different investment options.
Yeah.
I love a good analogy.
I know, me too.
So tell me more about these financial outfits.
Think of it this way. You wouldn't wear a ball gown to the grocery store.
No, definitely not.
Different occasions call for different outfits.
Yeah.
And similarly, different financial goals and timeframes call for different investment strategies.
Okay.
So think of it as building a diverse portfolio of financial outfits
Oh, I like
for
that.
various life stages.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here.
Good.
So walk me through these different investment options.
Okay.
What are the basics,
Okay.
the statement pieces, and the investment couture?
All right. Let's start with the short-term needs.
Okay.
Your financial basics.
Got it.
Think savings accounts, money market accounts, and certificates of deposit, or
Yeah.
CDs.
Okay.
These are for those goals you're hoping to achieve in the near future,
Mm-hmm.
like a vacation or a down payment on a car.
So they're reliable, easy to access,
Hmm.
and relatively low risk.
Exactly.
What about those midterm goals?
Right.
Like buying a house or saving for your dream wedding? What kind of statement pieces do we need for those?
That's where bonds, stocks, mutual funds, and ETFs come into play.
Okay.
These options have a bit more flair and the potential for higher growth.
Okay, so I've heard these terms thrown around a lot,
Yeah,
but honestly, they can feel a bit intimidating.
I understand.
Can you break them down for me
Of course.
and explain how they fit into this wardrobe analogy?
Absolutely. So let's start with bonds.
Okay.
Think of bonds as loans that you're giving to a company or to the government.
Okay.
In return, they pay you interest over a fixed period of time.
Mm-hmm.
They're considered relatively stable investments, like a classic, well-tailored blazer that never goes out of style.
Got it. So what about stocks? Those seem a bit more,
A little more risky.
well, yeah, adventurous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with stocks, you're essentially buying a small ownership stake in a company.
Okay.
You're betting on its future success.
Right.
If the company does well, the value of your stock goes up. It's like a trendy piece that could become a classic or fade out of style.
Ah, so there's more risk involved with stocks,
There is.
but also the potential for higher rewards.
Right.
It's like investing in that bold statement piece that could really elevate your wardrobe.
Exactly. Now, to manage that risk,
Right.
the audiobook suggests diversification.
Mm-hmm.
That's where mutual funds and ETFs come in.
Okay.
Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket,
Right.
you spread your investments across a variety of assets.
So it's like having a personal stylist curate a whole outfit for you,
Yes.
balancing risk and reward to create like a cohesive and stylish look.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So mutual funds and ETF pool money from multiple investors to purchase a diversified portfolio of stocks or bonds.
Okay.
It's a great way to reduce risk and potentially increase your returns.
That makes me feel a lot more comfortable about venturing into the world of stocks.
Good.
Now, I remember the audiobook mentioned something called junk bonds.
Oh, yeah.
What are those?
Well, remember that sequin jacket we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah, the one from the discount store?
Yes.
Okay.
The one that looks amazing,
Yeah.
but might fall apart after a few wears.
High reward, but also high risk.
Exactly. Junk bonds are kind of like that.
Okay.
They're issued by companies with lower credit ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a greater chance they might not be able to repay their debt.
Oh, I see.
They offer higher potential returns, but also carry a higher risk of default.
So buyer beware when it comes to junk bonds.
Yes.
They might be tempting, but it's important to understand the risks involved.
Right.
Now, what about long-term investments?
Right.
What does the audiobook recommend for retirement planning?
Okay.
Our investment couture.
I like that.
Yeah.
So for long-term goals, they highlight IRAs, Roth IRAs,
Okay.
and employer-sponsored plans like 401ks.
Got it.
These are your investment pieces that are designed for lasting value,
Mm-hmm.
the timeless classics of your financial wardrobe.
Ooh, I like that. IRAs seem like a good option for anyone,
They are.
even if you don't have a retirement plan through work, right?
Absolutely. They offer tax advantages and encourage consistent saving for the future.
That's good.
It's like investing in that high-quality, timeless piece that will never go out of style and will always be there for you when you need it.
That's a really nice way to put it.
I try.
The audiobook also emphasizes that it's never too early to start investing,
Right.
even with small amounts.
Yeah,
It's about developing those good financial habits early on.
exactly. And they make a really important point.
Okay.
It's often better to invest even a small sum than to put it towards paying off a low-interest debt.
Oh, interesting.
The potential gains from investments can often outpace the interest you're paying on the debt.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Now, the source also shares a story about this couple who actively manages their own stock portfolio.
Okay.
And I found their approach really interesting.
Yeah, Katie and her husband.
Yeah.
Yes,
They seem like a savvy couple.
they do.
They treat it like a game, doing their research,
Yeah.
making informed choices.
Mm-hmm.
What's really intriguing is that they prioritize long-term investments,
Yeah,
aiming for a holding period of at least a year
smart.
to benefit from lower capital gains taxes.
Exact.
They're strategic, patient,
Yeah,
and they work together as a team.
it's great.
It's inspiring to see a couple taking control of their finances
Mhm.
and building their wealth together.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from those fashion basics
Right.
to building a diversified investment portfolio.
Yeah.
It's clear that the source promotes like a mindful and informed approach to managing your money and making it work for you.
Absolutely. They empower you to take control,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions, and make choices that align with your goals.
Like that.
But we're not done yet.
Oh.
There's one more big ticket item that often plays a major role in our financial lives.
Ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
Well, we've talked about fashion, debt, investments,
Mm.
but there's one big purchase that often looms large: real estate.
Oh, yes.
The source provides a really interesting perspective
Okay.
on the pros and cons of buying a home, especially in today's market.
Ah, the Home Sweet Home chapter. I can't wait to hear their take on this.
I'm excited to share it.
Stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore the world of real estate,
Okay.
from navigating the market to making smart decisions about home ownership.
Love it.
It's going to be a fascinating ride.
I think so.
Okay, we're back, ready to tackle the final chapter of our deep dive, real estate. I'm excited to hear what the Smart Cookies Guide has to say about navigating this wild world of buying and owning a home.
Well, they acknowledge that the real estate market can be, a bit unpredictable, especially with all the recent fluctuations.
Right.
But they emphasize that buying a home is still considered a smart move in the long run,
Okay.
both for building wealth and creating a sense of stability and belonging.
It's like they're saying, yes, the market might have its ups and downs, but
Right.
don't let that scare you away from the dream of home ownership.
Exactly.
It's about looking beyond those short-term fluctuations and focusing on the long-term value.
I agree. And they talk about how owning a home encourages disciplined saving.
Oh, huh.
Each mortgage payment you make builds equity.
Right.
So you're essentially forced to invest in your future,
Yeah.
even if it's just a little bit at a time.
It's like having a built-in savings plan
Yeah.
with the added bonus of getting to, live in a space that you can truly make your own.
Absolutely.
But before we get too carried away with, browsing those dreamy real estate listings,
Yeah.
what does the audiobook say about, preparing financially for homeownership?
Well, they stress the importance of knowing your financial limits before you even start house hunting.
Okay.
They recommend talking to a lender to get pre-approved for a mortgage.
Got it.
This gives you a clear idea of what you can realistically borrow and helps you narrow your search to properties that fit within your budget.
It's about avoiding those, heartbreak situations where you fall in love with a house that's completely out of reach.
Right, exactly.
And it probably helps you avoid getting caught up in bidding wars and overspending.
Absolutely.
Right.
And they make a good point that just because you're approved for a certain amount
Yeah,
doesn't mean you have to max out your borrowing capacity.
that's true.
They caution against becoming house poor.
Right. Yeah.
When your mortgage payments eat up so much of your income,
Yeah.
that you have to sacrifice your lifestyle and other financial goals.
It's about finding that sweet spot, like
Yeah.
a home that meets your needs and your budget without feeling like you're stretching yourself too thin.
Exactly.
Now, here's a question that often comes up.
Yeah.
Should you prioritize paying off debt or saving for a down payment?
That is a tough one.
It is.
It's a dilemma.
I know a lot of people who struggle with that decision. It feels like you're constantly juggling these financial priorities.
Right.
What's the best way to approach it?
They offer a balanced perspective.
Okay.
They acknowledge that lenders typically prefer a 20% down payment
Right.
to avoid private mortgage insurance.
Oh, the PMI.
The P&MI, yes.
Gotcha.
Which, as you can imagine, is an added expense.
Yeah, you'd probably prefer to avoid that.
Exactly. So if you can swing that 20% down payment,
Mm-hmm.
you can save money on those pesky PMI premiums.
But what if you're carrying some debt
Right.
and also trying to save for a down payment?
Yeah,
Does the book offer any advice for that scenario?
they do.
Okay.
They say if your debt is manageable
Uh-huh.
and interest rates are relatively low,
Okay.
it might make sense to go ahead and buy a home now
Yeah.
and focus on putting any extra savings towards your down payment.
So it's all about weighing your options and figuring out what works best for your individual circumstances.
Exactly.
And they even offer some creative solutions for coming up with a down payment.
They do.
Things like co-owning with a family member
Mm-hmm.
or exploring a loan from relatives.
exactly.
Those are great ideas for people who might not have that, traditional savings route available to them.
Right.
They're thinking outside the box
Yeah.
and tapping into resources that they might not have even considered.
Absolutely.
What about the actual process of choosing a home?
Okay.
What kind of guidance does the source offer on that front?
They encourage focusing on features that enhance resale value.
Okay.
Things like the number of bedrooms and bathrooms,
Right.
a 2-car garage, hardwood floors, an updated kitchen.
It's like they're saying, think like a buyer even when you're the one doing the buying.
I love that, yes.
It's about making choices that appeal to a wider range of potential buyers down the road.
Exactly. And they provide some really insightful tips on staging your home to maximize its appeal
Yeah.
when it comes time to sell.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about visualizing the home as a blank slate,
Oh, I like that.
detaching from your personal attachments, and seeing it through the eyes of a potential buyer.
I love that analogy of a blank slate.
Yeah.
It helps you see the space with fresh eyes.
Right.
And focus on creating like a welcoming atmosphere that appeals to a broader audience.
Exactly. They emphasize decluttering, depersonalizing, and using neutral colors and furnishings to create a clean and inviting space.
It's about showcasing the home's best features
Mhm.
and allowing potential buyers to really imagine themselves living there
Yes.
and creating their own memories.
I agree.
Now, what about the different types of mortgages?
Okay.
Does the book break down the options?
They do. They discuss fixed rate and adjustable rate mortgages,
Okay.
highlighting the pros and cons of each.
Okay.
So fixed rate mortgages offer the stability of a consistent interest rate over the life of the loan,
Mm-hmm.
while adjustable rate mortgages, or ARMs,
Yeah.
can start with lower interest rates,
Right.
but they have the potential to adjust upwards over time.
Adjustable rate mortgages always make me a bit nervous.
I understand.
What if interest rates skyrocket?
They do address that concern.
Okay, good.
They point out that while those initial low interest rates can be tempting,
Yeah.
they can adjust upwards, sometimes significantly,
Right.
which could increase your monthly payments.
Wow.
They recommend carefully considering factors like periodic adjustment caps, which limit how much the interest rate can increase at each adjustment period,
Okay.
and lifetime caps, which set the maximum interest rate increase allowed over the life of a loan.
So it's all about protecting yourself
Mhm.
and making sure you can comfortably handle those potential rate increases.
Exactly.
So after diving deep into all the financial aspects of home ownership,
Yeah.
does the audiobook offer any advice on the more emotional side of buying a home?
They do. They remind us that while buying a home is a major financial decision,
Mm-hmm.
it's also about finding a place where you feel comfortable, happy, and at peace.
That's a good point.
They encourage us to do our research,
Yeah.
make informed decisions,
Right.
and ultimately choose a home that aligns with our values and aspirations.
It's about finding that balance between being financially savvy
Mm-hmm.
and honoring your, personal needs and desires.
Right.
It's about finding a place that feels like home, not just a house.
Beautifully said.
Wow. This deep dive has been packed with practical tips and insights
It has.
on everything from decluttering our closets
Yeah.
to building a diversified investment portfolio
Mm-hmm.
and navigating this complex world of real estate.
Absolutely.
It's clear that the Smart Cookies Guide to Making More Dough is all about empowering you to make informed choices
Mhm.
about your money, your style, and ultimately your life.
They encourage you to be intentional, resourceful, and proactive in every aspect of your financial well-being.
They remind us that knowledge is power
It is.
and that taking control of your finances can lead to greater freedom, security, and happiness.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's a final thought-provoking question for you, our listener. What's one small step you can take this week to be more intentional with your money
Yeah.
or your style choices?
Good question.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of fashion and finance.
It's been fun.
Until next time, remember, be smart, be savvy, and be fabulous.